Another story that we're following is the status of Browns wide receiver Odell Beckham. So he was lost for the season last year, tearing his ACL in Week 7. Expected to play, but they're going to test him out in pregame warmups. Now we have Tom Spencer of CBS Sports. Tom is in the booth with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. They're in Kansas City, so Tom's going to join us later in the show as well. Going to give you the insight on Beckham and what his status is. But for now, assuming if he's playing, can you trust him as a starting fantasy wide receiver, even in a 3-receiver league?
In a 3-receiver league, absolutely. As a flex, sure, why not? But if you're only starting 2 wide receivers and no flex, that's where I draw the line. I say no way on Odell Beckham, and it's because of what this Browns offense was last year. They averaged 31 pass attempts per game. That was one of the lowest per game averages among NFL teams last season. He also had a terrible catch rate from Baker Mayfield last season, and I get it. It's last season. It's old news. Well, you know what else is old news? That the Chiefs' defense is just so-so. They're pretty good, especially up front, and their secondary has some pieces that are a little underrated. So I am nervous about starting Odell Beckham. You'll see here that Jacoby Myers is ahead of him in our consensus rankings. I fully support that. Same thing with Marquise Brown. I think he's better than Odell Beckham this week. And Laviska Shenault, man, he's a better PPR option than Odell Beckham.
There's a lot of guys that I'd rather start than Odell Beckham, even if he was 100% healthy. It's just he has not been the same guy since he got to Cleveland. The targets aren't the same. He's around 7.5 per game. The yards per target's nowhere close to the same. Just not even kind of the same type of elite guy he was. Even last year had 2 games over 60 receiving yards. He has more games under 30 yards than over 100 yards since he joined the Browns. And I think L'Jarius Sneed, we saw last year, he really struggled against tough matchups. I think Sneed might be a tough matchup this year. I want to stay away from Odell Beckham unless I absolutely have to.
The nice thing, though, about this, and I think we're going to talk about this a little bit as the show goes on, when you look at what Vegas is telling you in terms of the over-under, they are expecting a big shootout in Kansas City between the Browns and Chiefs. Now, that might be one-sided because we know the Chiefs are going to put up points. Yep. But according to Caesar Sportsbook, 54.5 is the over-under here. So that could play into Beckham playing well, play into Baker Mayfield playing well. We'll see what happens with Jarvis Landry because Landry tends to benefit when Beckham is not on the field or not at 100%. Austin Hooper is another guy that we were talking about this week as well as a potential streaming tight end. So we'll find out from Tom Spencer. We'll find out when the inactives are released later in the day what Beckham's status is. But again, Tom Spencer in Kansas City will join us here on Fantasy Football Today. Want more of the Fantasy Football Today podcast and nonstop year-round fantasy advice? It's simple. Hit the subscribe button and hang with us all throughout the year.